Hello and welcome to CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and chief editor at CIO News. This is our exclusive interview series on the topic of Voice of CIO. It is a recorded session and will be available on our website, that is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. It is my pleasure to invite our guest for today's episode. We have Mr. Kalilur Rahman. He's also known as Khalil. Kalilur is a technology leader at Novartis. Kalilur Rahman is a technology leader and author, a speaker, and a curious lifelong learner, helping organizations in preparing the digital transformation journey. Kalilur, it's a pleasure to have you, and we're really looking forward to learn from your experiences.
Sure, it's a pleasure to meet you also. Looking forward to having a wonderful discussion. Thank
Fantastic. So, on our today's discussion, we intend to talk a lot around AI and ML. And around that, to begin with, so first of all, Khalid, how do you want me to call you? Should I call you Khalilur or Khalil?
you. Khalil is fine. It
Khalil.
means friend, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, Khalil, let's begin with how is AI expected to transfer the pharmaceutical industry in 2023?
Yes. See, if you take pharma industry, it has been using statistical modeling, analysis, experiments,
Yeah.
testing for ages, right? It is bread and butter of various activities that we do, especially the clinical trial. So, a lot of innovative changes have been happening in the pharma industry, and AI and ML is an automatic adaptation for the industry.
Yeah.
And it would transform the pharma industry in various ways. If I were to start from the first part, which is the drug discovery and development, AI assisted research can reduce operational costs phenomenally, right? There was an FDA report which mentioned the cost, for identifying a new molecule that can be commercialized. It rose up to 2.3 billion in 2015 compared to about 800 million some years back. So the cost of launching a new successful molecule is very high. So what AI can help is in this area. There are a lot of innovations and productivity factors that can be leveraged. It could be in the cases of drug discovery or design, processing of the pharmaceutical and biomedical and clinical data along with the chemical data. Identifying rare diseases and personalized medicine, leverage the genomics. Gene editing is also evolving, and CRISPR. And now the focus is more on innovative medicine and personalized medicine rather than pill that is specific, specific for a particular condition that anyone can take. It may, pharmaceutical industry could potentially move towards a more, personalized and innovative medicine. The second area where AI can phenomenally help us is in the area of operational optimization. How can automative and repetitive tasks can be automated and efficient can be leveraged? It's not specific to pharma, but it across the industry. But in pharma, there is definitely a lot of use cases. I'll cover some of it as we progress along. And I first covered the personalized medicine part, and gene editing is another area which is evolving. There are certain ethical and moral aspects, and it's a debatable topic, but there are a lot of benefits as far as genomics or other omics, proteomics, and a lot of other areas where AI can definitely help. And more importantly, one use case which has been used extensively even during the pandemic is also on disease diagnosis. How AI models and use of patterns and the techniques that is available in AML currently can help us detect the conditions and diagnose things a lot faster than human eyes, even in some cases faster than some of the experienced human experts over physicians. But it is an augmented intelligence, and obviously human intelligence can't be replaced. It is more of an augmented intelligence. So other use cases where it can be leveraged is, one area where we identify the right clinical trial candidates and identify certain biomarkers, digital biomarkers that is used for identifying a particular condition or treating a condition. So using technology, we can fast track some of the aspects, right? And another important aspect is drug repurposing. We a drug identified for something else can be repurposed. That happened in the case of COVID-19 also. The most popular drug, remdesivir, from Gilead, was actually a repurposed drug. It was identified for something else, but it became, godsend gift when the scientists came together and repurposed it, right? And
Right.
other things could be, drug adherence and dosage and how patients are using the medicines, right? Those are the things. And when it comes to drug discovery, the biomarker discovery with the data science tools can, ensure we identify the right candidates and right tools that is, giving us the better results in terms of sensitivity, robustness, and accuracy in validating the results. So even uh, big agencies such as FDA and other global agencies are more open to identifying, giving approvals to the technology-driven outcomes, right? So to summarize, identifying the candidates, identifying rare diseases using digital biomarkers, and
Right.
certain early warning systems when it comes to running a clinical trial, or also, to identify whether a particular molecule is performing in the expected way or not. Those are some of the things that can really be handy. And a lot of companies, including my employers, they are using identification of candidates for various clinical trials using a digital recruitment, right? That's where identifying the right candidate and right sample size is absolutely critical to make sure the trial is producing the outcome like it should be. So that's one area. And if you take some technology firms, right? Apple, it was the Apple Watch was a lifesaver in many cases, and they also came up with something like a screen time control for certain autistic children, just by looking at the facial expression and facial recognition. So there are certain other healthcare related use cases that can be done. And when it comes to additional use cases like forecasting of how a disease progression is, how the response to a particular drug is, whether the dosage needs to
Right.
be optimized. These are some of the things. And when it comes to repurposing, clubbing of certain molecules together or repurposing one candidate for another purpose, that's also a good area, and that can help companies increase their revenue potential as well. So
Got
I'll, probably take a pause here as far as how it can support, right? When it comes to operational efficiency, the, the AI can be leveraged. Some companies are actually having a simple dashboard to see what's happening across various clinical trials. When it comes to commercialization,
Yeah.
how the sales targets are being met, what are the different types of focus areas, or when it comes to who are the right healthcare physicians to meet, who are the what are the areas where a particular type of molecule or drug is needed more compared to others. So the utilization of the resources can be more efficient and targeted. And
Right.
yeah.
Right. Fantastic. I think you gave some great, use cases for the AI and ML usage. And so on that, my next question is, what are the forecasted trends that you suggest for the IT leaders and IT companies also must follow, in 2023 for AI and ML?
Yes. As far as the AI and ML is concerned, technology is evolving, so is computing power. So, and also the frameworks and the tools that are available are evolving.
Right.
So the key thing is auto ML is evolving. So auto ML is likely to emerge as a big technology that will be picking up. When it comes to ethics and morality aspect of AI, obviously companies need to focus more on ethical and explainable AI. The tools are also coming up so that the ethics and moral aspects can be taken up easily, and the AI becomes much more democratized, and AI can be used in a purposeful manner. So, using ethical and explainable AI tools would be adopting a mainstream adoption rather. When it comes to using of tools, there are tools such as generative AI, which can automatically generate things to do things a lot quicker. One case could be, using of knowledge graphs, right? I mentioned about repurposing, usage of knowledge graph to identify the right target area or the right molecules that can address a particular digital or biomarkers or condition. That could be a one thing. And
Yeah.
another aspect is, there are a lot of companies which are focusing more on how AI can be used in a sustainable manner. I read an article recently that one successful and complex AI deep learning model can emit about 284 kilograms of CO2 a year. Right? So, and also if you take Python, which is extensively used tool for coding AI/ML models, is one of the most energy consuming programming languages. So when it comes to adopt, sustainability and also more eco-friendly, so the companies with CSR focus will look at how to optimize the sustainability, right? So that
Correct.
we don't emit more CO2. And another aspect is how the digital twins are, digital view of physical operations can be evolved so that the adoption will go up, right? So be it manufacturing and
Right.
some training and other two, pick up the terms that are picking up is on metaverse and augmented intelligence. So AI will be leveraged by more and more physicians and practitioners to leverage the augmented intelligence capability so that some of the manual tasks can be automated and can be leveraged. And then when it comes to metaverse, obviously AI will be leveraged, and that can also be used for, say, robo-assisted surgery. The adoption can possibly increase. So these are high-level technologies that can pick up. And when it comes to drug discovery, quantum ML is an emerging area, but not mainstream yet. So that could possibly be leveraged by some of the companies. And so is tiny ML, so that the things that are easy to identify can be picked up. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, Khalil, as the world has recently recovered from COVID, how can AI and ML help pharmaceutical organizations to quickly identify and diagnose new disease and
Yes.
suggest provide treatments? Yeah.
Yes, I mentioned about the remdesivir. That is actually a repurposed medicine.
Okay.
Similarly, another medicine called toramifene, right? That was also,
Yeah.
repurposed. That was used for COVID treatment. Recently, Benevolent AI, which is a technology startup focusing on AI, identified a new drug for rheumatoid arthritis. Um, could be used for potential corona virus treatment, right? The pandemic treatment. So it was carried out in large scale trials across the world, right? So what pandemic has helped in terms of drug discovery is, one is repurposing, how to leverage the existing candidate for something, how to target molecules better, how to do grouping in a better way. So it also helped the pharma companies propel, right? When it comes to knowledge graph, building a huge knowledge graph of the chemical, biological, and medical research and information that is available. And the company's AI learning models can come up with algorithms and identify a particular potential drug that can, be targeted for areas that were not addressed, right? So that's one focus area pretty much all the big pharma companies are looking at. And that resulted in two or three examples that I gave when it comes to COVID-19. And
Right.
in some cases, the companies are also discontinued some of the trials. Like on the point that I mentioned, they came up with some targeted candidates, then they run some trials and they were able to predict it is not going in the way it was expected to go, and they pulled the plug on that. So that that is an example of how you can save the resources and focus on it. Fail fast, so the companies can focus on something else. So those are some of the good things that happened.
Correct, correct. Fantastic. And how can AI help pharmaceutical companies get their products to the target audiences?
Yes, I covered briefly, right? The disease diagnosis is one area, right?
Right.
Building an analytics platform that can identify previously undiagnosed patients and also rare disease conditions, right?
Right.
So there are certain rare disease conditions that are still unaddressed, right? If you take cancer, there are a lot of variants of cancer, right? Only certain four areas are addressed, but there are areas where people have rare conditions and whether some of the molecules identified can be addressed, right? And so in some cases, people have undiagnosed conditions, right? How do we address it? So some of the pharma companies or the innovative medicine focus companies are focusing on this area, right?
Right.
And as far as identifying the molecule, identifying the patterns or conditions, right? Identifying the pattern, what causes a particular condition, what causes the disease, what are the rare conditions, what are the genomic, patterns that are there. There A and ML can definitely help come up with a prediction model or classification and pattern that can be used by other, algorithms and models built by the pharma companies to uh, identify the efficacy, right? It could be if you are trying a molecule and a patient is taking that medicine, you can see the efficacy and efficiency of those molecules and make certain decisions and make corrections. And diagnosis is definitely one area where you can do predictions quickly. And when it comes to the actual clinical trial, you can also use the AI/ML tools, right? You can use your smartphone or any sensors or all the tools to identify whether the patients are taking the medicines at the right time. So you have more accurate data. One of the things about clinical trials is you need to have the right data, right adverse event impact notification to make the right decisions, right?
Right.
Sometimes when you do it manually, uh, these have potential for human error. So with the digital trials, and you avoid the risk of human errors. So that's one area which will be of uh, uh, phenomenal help to the pharma companies. And I also mentioned about identifying the genes. If you take gene editing or innovative medicine, how you identify the right targeted genes. And there is a new concept which is coming up with using mRNA and
Right.
siRNA technology. Moderna actually came up with COVID vaccine using mRNA technique. Moderna itself has mRNA. So mRNA and siRNA is an area of focus for a lot of pharma companies. Earlier focus was more on DNA. Now the focus is whether we can use RNA. So this is another area where a lot of AI ML innovation can be leveraged and design a treatment or come up with patterns based on earlier treatment and on outcome, and the gene patterns and molecule patterns. All it will help in coming up with more targeted, personalized, innovative medicine. So that is where the industry is evolving, and that will mean having a copycat, or in case a lot of poorer quality products coming out can be avoided. That will be a good thing for the patients themselves, because you need to uh, have very targeted medicine. Because at the end of the day, if you take a look at it, any medicine you take is a chemical, and chemical has side effects. It
Correct.
will do good thing, and also sometimes it may damage good uh, good genes or good items that are inside your body. So that needs to be addressed as well.
Correct. Correct. Fantastic. Great conversation with you, Khalil. I think we've covered some really great use cases, and with your experience, I think it was a good learning. Any last thoughts or any last practice that you would want to share for our viewers
Yeah.
through this interview?
Yes, and see, while AI and ML is a hot topic and evolving topic, the point is it is not easy. There are lots of challenges when it comes
Yeah,
to AI ML,
yeah,
right? And there's a report which is about 80, close to 80%, 78%, right? They stall before they go live. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And about 96% of the companies face data quality and labeling challenges,
mm,
right? And some falter because they try different technology companies. There's no one size fits all on enterprise tool, right? And more 4 in 5 companies admit there is a lot. AI is a lot more difficult than it is expected. So,
yeah,
and in many cases, the companies have very small teams, right? And a lot
correct.
of data to be cleansed, and that's a that's a challenge. And it's like there's a big hype curve that AI is the pill that's going to change everything, but it is not the case, right? And the challenges such as acquiring the right data, acquiring normalizing it in the right way, having the right AI models, and making sure you have the right end-to-end machine AI ML or machine learning ops, right,
Yeah,
and making sure continuously improve the data and how you take care of the data quality, right, and also how you address the challenges such as explainable AI and ethics and you know. Democratizing it and keeping your model sustainable. These are some of the challenges that if just started, we probably are the beginning of the journey. There's still a lot of ground to cover and a lot of innovations which will come our way and that can potentially change the way we live and probably how long we live in the future as well.
sure, sure. Fantastic. Great, Khalil. Thank you so much. I think wonderful interaction with you. Thank you once again for joining on this CIO News media platform and sharing all your wonderful experiences with us. I look forward to having many more interactions with you in the future.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure discussing and thanks for the wonderful questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khalil. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.